I'm Siena. I'm the kid.
I'm Sarah. I'm the mom.
This is Queer Kid Straight Mom.
Let's talk. Welcome back to Queer Kid Straight Mom, our Christmas episode, which was supposed to come out 2 weeks ago, but things have been very, very busy. But we're here now, and we are going to talk about some gay Christmas movies, which actually range from like side character is gay to like main gay characters. Sienna did not have time to watch the movies because they are slammed with law school applications.
Don't go to law school, kids. You'll regret it.
And LSAT study. I am going to just describe these movies for you guys, and I have things that I want to get Sienna's take. I started with Under the Christmas Tree, which when I told Sienna what it was about, what did you say? That's the dumbest relationship conflict I've ever heard. Okay, so it takes place in Maine, and there is the woman who is taking over the family business, which is one of those stores that you go to in small towns that have Christmas stuff all year. And they have this amazing, huge, I'm not sure what kind of conifer it might have said, I don't know, in their yard. And the arborist from the state government has come to town to look for the perfect Christmas tree to put up at the state capitol and has promised the governor that it's going to be big and beautiful and amazing. And of course, the tree she falls in love with is in this woman whose family owns the store's yard.
So right off the bat, this is completely insane because what are you going to do? Eminent domain the pine tree?
They say no.
Right.
Don't cut down our beautiful tree.
And you would think that that would simply end things and that she would just be like, okay, they don't want me to cut down their tree. I'm going to go find another tree from the many, 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 many pine trees in the world.
But she had already told the governor's office, I found it and it is beautiful and it is amazing and it's bigger than the one at blah, blah, blah. And so she's promised this tree. So now she has to stay for a few extra days to talk the family into letting her cut down their big, beautiful tree that the entire town gathers under for a tree lighting every year.
Okay, so just to review, she's like the one slur.
Kind of. But she's also beautiful. And she's a lesbian, as is the woman who has the Christmas store. And so, of course, sparks fly. But there is this conflict hanging over them. She wants the tree, and she doesn't want her to take the tree.
See, I don't know, man. Like, I don't really care how attractive and lesbian someone is. Like, if they're like insisting that I cut down my beautiful beloved tree and they made the stupid choice of promising someone a tree before they knew if they could cut it down from my property, I just don't think I'd find that very attractive.
Well, the parents who are retiring and passing the store off to their daughter are moving to Florida. And they actually are like, I don't know, she could take the tree. There are also lots of disagreements between them and their daughter about how the store should or should not be modernized according to the consultant that they've hired. So there's lots of like the evils of modern capitalism, I guess. Also, this girl really loves the like old-fashioned Christmas catalog they put out every year. And the consultant thinks that they should like put that online. After all of the drama, she went to get the parent's signature behind the woman's back.
Oh, I'm sorry. If someone I'm into does that, out, never dating them.
But then she just couldn't do it. And she quits her job. And it just so happens that the tree conservation place in this town is looking for a new executive director. And so she takes that job and they live happily ever after. And before she quits the job, she finds a different tree, which is also big and beautiful and conveniently nearing the very end of its life. So it would be honored to devote itself to this cause.
Is that like explicitly stated in the movie or did you just interpret that?
Kind of like she's like a tree whisperer. She speaks, she's like the onceler, but she also speaks for the trees.
But she also wants to cut them down.
Yes. Anyway, having said all that, you're going to find this really hard to believe, but like I kind of enjoyed it. It was cute. I don't know. I wasn't like bored, which for me is a measure by which I judge movies. Is if I get bored watching them, and I didn't really get bored. I wouldn't say it was like excellent. It's definitely, it might have actually been a Lifetime channel movie, but I watched it on Amazon, I think. No, I had to get a free subscription, like a week trial to Hallmark to watch one of these, and it might have been that one. Anyway, it's like if you want to watch a cute lesbian Christmas movie and you can like sort of suspend reality and overlook a lot of like duplicity, which I think is meant to exist just as a plot device, not a character judgment.
So if Hallmark movies are your thing,
Yes. If you like the formula of Hallmark movies, but you're like, but there should be lesbians, this is for you. And then the next one I watched it's called The Keller Family Christmas. And in this one, these parents plan this Christmas trip down the Danube, I believe, on one of those like river cruise things, like a Christmas cruise. Their 3 grown children from all over come join them on this cruise. So there's the oldest son who's a football coach and is divorced, who like, I guess just to set him up as like being sad, he's decided since he got divorced, he's going to tell the girl that he always really loved that he loves her, but she shoots him down.
ouch.
So he's coming with that baggage. The other son is gay and proposed to his fiance right before he came, and the fiance was supposed to come with him, but the fiance starts acting like all cagey and it's like, the time isn't right? And he's like, you know what? Then don't come. And he leaves him.
I have the perfect show for these people. Queer love ultimatum.
Yes. So he goes and he's sad because he thinks that his fiance is keeping something from him and everything's off. And then there's their sister. This woman is so annoying, like so irritating. I know she's supposed to be like cute and quirky, but nails on a chalkboard. And she works in like data something analysis, but really wants to be a photographer and has just resigned herself to the fact that she's never going to find true love because she's clumsy and quirky, but actually I think because she's incredibly irritating. So they all converge in Germany and get on this cruise. And then of course, like everything is incredibly predictable, that the guy that like runs the cruise and the girl who wants to be a photographer fall in love at first sight. And he actually needs somebody to take pictures for their promotional stuff. So that works out really nicely. And he somehow does not find her incredibly irritating.
Well, I mean, he runs a river cruise, so probably his standard for incredibly annoying is different than everybody else's.
That's probably true.
There's someone for everyone.
There's someone for everyone.
If you think you're a very annoying person, then that's why you can't find true love.
Go on a river cruise.
Yeah.
Bar is low. There's, of course, an elderly man who is on the cruise with his divorced adult granddaughter, who hits it off quite nicely with the football coach, but they both are like bitter right now and they are not going to have any relationship. Like there's nothing like that happening on this trip because the grandpa, of course, is trying to set her up with every man she meets. And then, of course, they fall in love. And then the not fiance shows up because he's like, no, I still want to come on this trip with your family. And then the son is all like irritated because he's not supposed to be there and he's mad at him. No, we can't make up until you tell me what you're hiding from me.
This sounds like a toxic dynamic because sometimes people just aren't ready to get married.
Well, he actually is keeping a secret, which you find out at the end of the movie. And he also is incredibly, incredibly annoying. Like if you were like doing an imitation of a gay man and like kind of being snarky about it, his acting was terrible. I don't know if that was just him not acting and being himself, in which case, I'm sorry, sir, that I find you annoying. If you were acting, dial it back, way back, take it down to like 4. So there's all this drama going on and they're stopping in all of these like beautiful German villages with Christmas markets along the way. And that's all very sweet. In one of the towns they stop in, before the boyfriend shows up, that son is like sad because there's like whatever going on with his boyfriend, right?
Wait, sorry, why didn't you show up halfway through the cruise? If he still wanted to come, why didn't he just show up at the beginning of the cruise like a normal person?
Maybe he was trying to decide. Maybe he was deliberating. I don't know. That wasn't really explained. Or if it was, I missed it. So he like drinks too much Glowvine and ends up in the like German costume on stage with the German dancers doing the traditional German dance.
As one does.
In the aftermath of that, they miss their deadline to get back to the ship. And so the ship leaves port without them. And so then they have to figure out how to get to the next town to meet the ship, which involves a lot of really implausible stuff and like a little motorbike with a sidecar. And it's ridiculous, really ridiculous. But then we find out that how much am I spoiling these movies? The father has a health issue that the boyfriend knew about because he's a doctor and they had talked about it. But the parents made him promise not to tell until they were ready to tell him in person.
And that's why they couldn't get engaged?
Because he didn't feel like the time was right. He knew that he was going to find out about it on this trip and he didn't think it was like appropriate to be like, we're getting married.
So instead, I'm going to cause him a bunch of stress because of turning down his proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Flawless planning.
Yeah. And then the gay son is like runs a construction company, but like not in a like a hard hat way, like a sitting in a fancy office way. But he's bored. He's really bored and he wants to do something different. And so after he finds out about his father's health condition, he's like, oh, like, there's a village in the Netherlands that is for people with Alzheimer's. So they, can just feel like they're living normal life, but it's all kind of made so it's a safe. I don't know. Have you ever heard of this?
I don't think so.
I've heard. And I mean, I think that's a lovely idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could do something like that for your condition. And he's like describing this to his dad because it's not Alzheimer's, it's something different. And I'm like, oh my God, his dad's going to be like, that actually sounds really insulting to me. But he doesn't. He thinks it's beautiful and lovely and everybody cries and it's like wonderful. I am just imagining like my mom, oh my gosh, she would be like, that sounds like my worst nightmare.
What is the health condition?
It's Parkinson's.
Oh, okay.
So they have to sell their house because the stairs will be hard for him to navigate. So I'm assuming he's talking about like creating a village that's just easier for people with Parkinson's to get around. But like, I feel like that's all active seniors communities. They're like 1-story houses and golf carts and all of that stuff, right?
Yes. Also just accessible design generally.
Yeah. He could have just been like, you know what? We're going to start like actually specializing in accessible housing.
Yeah, what the heck?
Not a village for people with Parkinson's.
This is a tangent, but obviously people with certain health conditions do need accommodations, but
right.
But do we think the correct solution is to just like cordon them off from society?
Yeah. To like a leper community or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were a lot of things going on that I was just like, I know this is supposed to be making me feel one way, but it's making me feel a different way. And it's not the positive emotion that I think they're going to. That's the Keller family Christmas. I guess I wouldn't say I was bored, but it's just cringy. Like everything is kind of cringy. And everybody is like a walking, talking stereotype. And like I said, the daughter, I just like needed her to not.
Manic pixie dream girl. It's like a cliche. There's like this certain sort of fixation on like a quirky, like kind of over the top.
I think that's what they were going for, maybe, is what they've envisioned her being, but that's not what they achieved. There was a lot of like everything else. Like if you were trying to play a really awkward person and you weren't a good actor, like this is what you would do.
Okay, so perhaps there was just a problem with the quality of the actors.
Yeah, I don't think they were like hitting the top of the casting roster. And then the last one I watched is a new movie called Oh, What Fun.
This is one I have actually heard of.
Mm-hmm. And it's Michelle Pfeiffer, who I just think is great. It's not really a good movie, but it was fun. It was cute. But like I said, it's not great. Lots of stereotypes. But the reason it's on our list of gay movies is, I mean, it's the same story where like the adult kids are coming home for Christmas. The oldest daughter, and she's married and has kids, and she's a writer, and she's like more serious kind of. And then the son, who has just been dumped by his girlfriend. I think he must be the baby. And apparently part of the reason she broke up with him is because the only job he has is as a summer camp counselor for 3 months of the year. We were obviously supposed to be on his side because she wasn't very nice about it, but like she also has a point.
Yeah, like my dude, there are other things you can do with kids for the rest of the year.
Yeah, like be a teacher, whatever. Anyway, and then so the other daughter is, the like artsy cool one, and she's a lesbian. And so she's introduced at the beginning of the movie. The mom is like doing the voiceover kind of thing. Every year she comes home with a new amazing girlfriend. And every year we act really excited because we love her. I was trying to figure out if that was a like pretending they're okay with her being gay thing, but it wasn't. Like everybody, it's, that you watch those movies and you're like, somehow in these people's world, everybody is absolutely okay with this, which we know from personal experience is not the way it usually works. But the gay thing is not like an issue. But what I'm curious about, so this year she has brought a girl who like apparently she's decided is the love of her life. But the girl gets to her house and is like looking through photo albums and realizing that every picture from every year is like a different person and it's getting more and more awkward. But like the mom's just had enough because nobody like appreciates everything that she does for them at Christmas. And she's like trying to take care of everything. And they're like doing normal kid thing. Like the oldest daughter just decides to spring on her at a stressful moment. I was just thinking like maybe my family wants to do something different next year instead of coming home. And, not the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's just had it. And then they have tickets to this big dance thing. And like that group thinks she's in one car and that group thinks she's in the other car and they leave her behind. Basically. She's gotten these tickets and like everybody leaves. And she's like, they left. They totally forgot about me. So she like jumps in her car and heads to California because there's this talk show that was having like a amazing moms contest or something that she's been dropping hints trying to get her kids to nominate her for, but they never did.
It's so sad.
I know. But she like has this idea, I guess, that this show is like, that's all she wants. All she wanted was to go on this show and be appreciated for being a great mom. So she just decides to jump in her car and drive to Burbank and show up at the film lot on Christmas Day and show up at the show.
Solid plan.
Solid. And then, of course, the family is like, we totally didn't appreciate her. And everything works out, except for the lesbian daughter because her girlfriend actually leaves. Because we're doing spoilers. Stop listening if you really want to watch this movie and you don't want to know this. But there's a scene where they live in Houston, so it's warm. The son and the girlfriend, the lesbian daughter's girlfriend, go to play tennis. And the other daughter's husband is at the house and sees this other girl show up and go inside with the lesbian daughter. She's like cheating on her. So anyway, what ends up coming up out of that is it's an old friend who's a jewelry designer and she was making a ring that she wanted to propose to her girlfriend with. And then her girlfriend is like, but we've only been together for like 3 months or whatever. She's like, I know, but I just have a feeling you're the one. And she's like, yeah, but I'm actually kind of old fashioned and I don't want to feel like I'm on an episode of The Bachelor. And she leaves. So here is why this is relevant to our podcast, because these are the questions I wanted to ask you. Do you see these as stereotypes? Like, there's the whole U-Haul lesbian thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that like showing up with a different girl every single year and then love bombing this girl? Like, do you feel like those are stereotypes? Or do you feel like that could have been any of the kids? They just picked that one. I mean, you could totally see a guy doing that, I guess. Is the fact that it was a daughter doing that, do you feel like, oh, she's gay, so we can make her do the things that the guy would do?
Well, what I will say is frustrating to me is that I feel like for some inexplicable reason in the media ecosystem, we have this weird tendency where queer men in relationships tend to get like these really cute, fluffy love stories and everything's great and la di da da da, like Heartstopper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that they don't have problems in Heartstopper, but fundamentally their relationship is this very strong foundational thing. And there's just like this core of sweetness and gentleness to it.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a lot of that in media. And for whatever reason, lesbians seem to get dumped with all of the unpacked toxic relationship dynamics. And I don't know why that is, but I feel like there are just a lot fewer of that kind of relationship between two women featured in media.
It's almost like they're trying to give the gay guys the more stereotypically feminine relationship and lesbians the more stereotypically masculine.
Yeah. And it's certainly not to say, first of all, that I want to see like a bunch of toxic relationships between queer men, because I think that's something you have to be really careful about portraying just because of the political climate. And also not to say that abuse in relationships between women isn't a real thing, because it absolutely is. It's just that I don't know why there's so frequently this like undertone of, and this is probably way over the top for like this silly Christmas movie, but it feels like there's like this sort of vaguely dark undertone to a lot of these relationships between women.
Yeah, you could see that. Yeah, so you keep thinking like, oh, she's gonna like that really was the one and she's gonna go get her back and whatever. And then at the end of the movie, it's the next Christmas and she's showing up with a different girl. So that's how they resolved that. That's just how she is. I guess we don't know if that was the love of her life and she got away or if she would have just dumped her in a couple of months when she got bored.
Yeah.
Anyway, kind of cute. I appreciated the appreciate your mom's thing, but not like a super great movie. It was kind of fun.
Would you say it was, oh, what fun?
Well, it has periods in the title. And maybe I might say it was, oh, what fun. Well, those are our 2025 gay Christmas movies. You were going to just throw out a couple of Christmas movies that your imagination has run wild with and created gay storylines.
No, I actually think there's a more fun way of doing this, which is give me a Christmas movie.
Oh, Elf.
Okay, Found Family.
Hmm.
And I mean, we do have this kid who grows up being told that, like, you're different than everybody else. Why are you so bad at this? You know, like, he doesn't fit in with the other elves.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fit in with humans either, right? He has an identity that cannot be boxed in to, like, either thing that his family sort of expect from him.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so it's a narrative about embracing all the aspects of yourself, even if they're not what's expected of you.
Okay. I like that. That was good. Polar Express.
The conductor's gay.
Why?
Just cuz.
No. So you're kind of stumped on that one.
I just think it'd be fun if he were gay. I mean, this is how it goes, right? Sometimes you have like deep, interesting subtextual narratives, and then sometimes you're just like, that guy's gay.
So speaking of Polar Express, I have recently become aware on social media of how many people hate this movie. They're like, I just watched Polar Express, and what kind of uncanny valley nightmare is this?
No, I have seen that. I don't know that I've seen like a visceral hatred towards it, but yes, I do think a lot of people find it deeply unsettling because it's an unusual animation style.
Yeah, which I think they're trying to like match the book.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff about like vacant eyes.
Well, and in fairness, it's a little bit of an unsettling movie.
It is like it's because then other people are like, I don't know, I kind of like that there is like a feeling of like darkness or sadness or whatever because that kind of is growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's an aside, but I didn't realize how much like hate there was out there for Polar Express.
I'm gonna be honest, I actually do feel like there's something here. I just haven't thought through it enough, but I think there's something there with the like growing up and childhood joy and like what's expected of you. And I just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
Stay
You
tuned.
might be onto something there. Love Actually is way too easy. White Christmas.
There's definitely something gay happening in White Christmas.
I mean, aside from like all the dancers in the show.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of gay going on there.
It's just been so long since I've seen it though. Not seen the movie for a really long time.
It's because nobody ever wants to watch it with me.
Problem with watching it.
Okay. KJ used to watch it with me when he was little, but only because he liked the battle scene. Christmas Story.
I think that the mom is a lesbian and she's very unhappy in her life.
So the leg lamp makes her uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's why she has to break it. I like
He's
it.
not just jealous of the leg lamp.
You were always jealous of the lamp.
The leg lamp is awakening the hidden desires within her.
Christmas Carol. Scrooge, just a sad, lonely, unhappy gay boy.
I think his old partner, what's his name?
Marley.
Marley was in love with him, but he couldn't express it because of the repressive culture. And that's why he was so devoted as to come back from the great beyond.
But Scrooge wasn't gay?
I'm not sure about Scrooge because, like, I do think he legitimately loved that girl.
But maybe that's why he couldn't commit. Why he poured everything into work and he couldn't commit to her.
Maybe.
He was like running from the fact that he didn't feel the way he was supposed
That's
to
true.
feel.
Like he like did love her, just not in like a romantic way. Like he wasn't attracted to her.
Mm-hmm. He was hiding in work.
Right. And we also see that he was a sensitive kid who's getting bullied.
Mm-hmm. There you go. I think we're onto something.
Mm-hmm. No, and I just think that think about how many of the tech bros today are gay. Like Peter Thiel, billionaire who supports Trump. And is Sam Altman gay? I'm trying to remember if he's the one who posted something about how would I raise a toddler without ChatGPT, but he was like with his husband or something. Anyway, the point is that I think that there is sometimes a tendency to like desperately chase success in other aspects of life when you can't find happiness in your personal life.
Yeah.
Like you're constantly trying to prove something.
Well, and if you grew up feeling like you were sort of like in a demographic that's the target of bullying, like you just want money and power, right? So nobody can come for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're like asserting your masculinity by doing manliness better than all the other men because you have money more than all the other men.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. All right. Well, that is our Christmas movie episode, which we've had great fun with, and I hope you have too. In our next episode in the new year, we will be talking about trans healthcare and the legislative attacks on it and where that all stands and what you need to know, and probably revisit, as we always do, the misconceptions that seem to be lodged in people's brains, no matter how much evidence there is to the contrary. We hope you all have a really good holiday season here and that you have family or chosen family or whatever it is that brings you joy.
New Queer's Eve drag show.
Something like that. Yes, we hope there is much joy and merriness. And I know that is hard right now because everything is kind of a dumpster fire. But if you can find a way to bask in the warm glow of the dumpster fire and pretend it's not coming from a dumpster, we wish you that.
I'm not sure how much that metaphor holds up.
It doesn't really. I was just trying to look for like potential positive things about dumpster fires. Like if you were cold, it would be a source of warmth.
I mean, yes, if you're like the little match girl and your match is going to burn out and you're going to die in the cold, I think you'd be fine with a dumpster fire. That doesn't say great things about our whole predicament as a society, though, if we're like all the little match girl.
True. Okay, so maybe that wasn't positive at all. I hope that there are no dumpster fires in your world this Christmas. And we will catch you in the new year.
Bye.
If you found this episode interesting, informative, amusing, please review and follow us on your podcasting platform of choice. Getting those reviews and follows really helps us show up more in the algorithm and be able to reach more people to help them. You can find us on social media, Instagram, and Threads at queerkid.straightmom, Blue Sky at qksm.bsky.social, and Facebook at Queer Kid Straight Mom. We are no longer on Twitter.